How you doing, YouTube? I have an infinite flight video for beginners. The topic of this video is infinite flight pre-flight checklist. This video is designed to help beginners prepare for takeoff so that they can manage all of the things that have to be done and make it easier for them to fly their plane. As Infinite Flight has been updated, we have more flight control, and what that's done is made us busier. And what can happen is once you start trying to move over onto multiplayer, you can find yourself overwhelmed. So if you practice these things, these 4 things that I'm giving you for your pre-flight, it'll make you a better infinite flight pilot. So let's run through the checklist, and then what we'll do is open up the app and run through it on an airplane, and I'll give you a couple other pointers to make it easier for you. So let's go ahead and begin. First part, when you open up the app, you want to turn on your no smoking sign, turn on your seatbelts sign. The navigation lights and the beacon lights should be on. What I found is that on the commercial planes they're already on. I tend to only fly the commercial planes. The smaller planes, you're going to have to take a look at those and see if they're on. Now we're moving to navigation. If you're flying solo, you have control over which runway is open simply by setting the direction of the wind. You're going to be using whatever runway is green, lit up green. You want to complete your route planning to your destination. This video is not about route planning. It's simply on pre-flight. I have a video on route planning, so I would suggest that you check that out. Once you've done your flight plan, you want to go ahead and set the map screen to the map FPL setting. That's the map in the flight plan setting, and then center the map. Third part, you want to go ahead and set the speed based on the aircraft that you're using, but make sure to set it not more than 250 knots. What I tend to do is I'll set mine, if I'm in a commercial aircraft, I'll set it to 245 knots just to make sure I don't overspeed below 10,000 feet. I'll set the altimeter to 5,000 to 10,500 feet depending on where I'm going. I set the heading to the first waypoint off the runway. I'll show you how to do that and how you can get the airplane to tell you exactly what that is, because what will end up happening is as you're flying off and you decide, well, now I want to go ahead and set my autopilot, you'll already have the heading in there. You can just click it. You can set that, be that the first setting you do, then you can set your auto throttle. I tend to set my auto throttle and my heading first before I set my autopilot completely. I'll set my vertical speed based on the aircraft that I'm in, and I'll set my trim to 3%, but not more than 6%. Once I'm in the air, I set it to 6% to keep that nose up attitude as I'm cruising. Now let's go to pushback and taxi. At this point, you're ready for pushback, so you want to go ahead and do that if it's necessary. There are some gates where you don't have to push back. You just roll off. You taxi to your runway, paying close attention to your ground speed. If you've already decided to jump into multiplayer, there are ground speed rules. I think it's somewhere between 30-35 knots. You want to find out what that is and adhere to that so that you don't lose standing. Hold short of your runway. Because of updates, the hold short lines are very distinctive, yellow and black. Once you get there, you set your flaps based on your airplane. I say that a lot, based on your airplane. You need to study the plane that you've decided to fly so that you use it the way it's designed, because that's how Flying Development Studios designed this application. And it'll also ensure that your standing rises, because you'll be flying more realistically, and it'll actually make using this app more enjoyable. Turn on your landing lights, turn on the strobe lights, and now you're ready to turn onto the runway and you're ready for departure. So what we're going to do, I'll go ahead and first show you the list again. I'll pause there. Number 2, part 3, and finally part 4. So you can come back and review that in the video. So I'll go ahead and bring up the Infinite Flight application. Alright, so I'm already on the runway. Okay, so let me show you what I've done. I've set my speed, my heading, my altimeter, the vertical speed, my trim is set, my flaps are set. What I did with my flight plan is I set it to the first waypoint off the runway. I'm not doing a complete flight plan, because again, this video is not about flight plans. But if we zoom in, you see the icon here for the runway with the magenta line on it. You see the plane there, and then just off the runway, the first waypoint is WURSSU. So let's go ahead and center the map. It's already on the map flight plan setting. Go back to the cockpit. Now, if you look at the bottom of the screen where all the flight parameters are, I have mine pretty much based on navigation. It's distance to, let's start from the left to right. My flight time, how long have I been in the air? My local time, because I'm basing that on when I started. And then my estimated time to arrival to my next waypoint, and my bearing to my next waypoint, and the distance to the next waypoint. And then finally, my estimated time of arrival to my destination and my distance to my destination. The reason I have that up is so that I know when to begin my descent. There's rules for that. I'll make a video about that later. I have a video on descending, but it's descending from flight level 410, so it's pretty extensive. If you see this one setting right dead center of the compass, it's set to 110. You notice the heading of the runway is 109, and the bearing to the next, it's telling me it's 110. So here you see I'm clicking it off and on. It's set already to the heading of the next waypoint. I'm a little off center because I hurried up and taxied over here, because I wanted to be ready just to save time. I didn't want to go through a complete taxi and whatnot. So I'm not going to take off, but you can see here that if I were to power up and start rolling down the runway, let me center a little bit. I'll keep my speed down so I don't take off. But imagine that I'm speeded up and I'm rolling down the runway. The nose lifts off and I'm in the air. Turn this autopilot off. That once I go ahead, I'll abort this takeoff. I'm up in the air and I'm flying off. I can go ahead and click that on, and I'm already on the heading to the first waypoint. But I'm still flying the plane, and then as I fly through flight level 1000, I can go ahead and pull my flaps up. Of course, the gear will already be up and whatnot, and I'm still continuing on with my flight, and I'm speeding up. Once I'm up to 245, I can go ahead and set that. Of course, now it's gonna set to whatever the actual speed of the plane is. But you get the meaning, is that because you have these presets and whatnot, it'll help you as you're flying through, so that you don't have to set them on the fly, literally on the fly. So that's basically all I have for you. I'll show you the plane I'm in. That's what I've been flying lately. It's a A321. It's a, oh my God, I love it. I just love the plane. But that's all I have for you. So again, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, or you have my email. Feel free, and I answer everybody, and anybody that contacts me gets answered directly as soon as I know that I have a response. And so I appreciate anybody that has asked questions or has watched any of the videos. Feel free to contact me anytime. So that's all I have for you. Have a nice evening.